Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Natal Charts 101, a beginner's guide to understanding yourself through astrology. Now, who am I? I am Benny Sable. I will be your tutor throughout this series. And that's what this is. This is a series about natal charts, birth charts, and going through it to help you better understand what one of those is. And before we get into it and too much further, I just want to introduce myself. As I said, my name is Benny. I go by she, her pronouns. I am a Leo sun, Sagittarius moon, and a Capricorn rising. I am also very eighth house dominant. So, yes, it is very intense. And if any of you are well versed in astrology, you know that those placements means that I am quite temperamental and I can come off as very cold and calculating, which is not very true, I promise. This will be fun and I will make it as easy as possible. And please feel free to leave any comments down below if you have any questions. So, before we hop right into it, as I said before, also to give a little bit of a background, I have been doing this as a hobby. I've been into astrology since I was at least 12 or 13 years old, and it has been a continuous thing. And I may not know everything, as learning is, you never stop, especially when you're interested in something. And I hope that this guide, this series, will help others who are just curious. Now, what is this overall? This series is going to be, like I said, what a natal chart actually is and why it matters, the basics of the zodiac signs. Some may just need a refresher, some may not know at all, which is absolutely fine. No judgment here. Debunking some common myths about astrology, about the signs, about everything, really. Why using your star signs as an excuse isn't viable, because that is something very common on social media and just in general, and it is exhausting to see. So we'll be going over that, as well as the differences, excuse me, between your star sign placements, because it's very important. And we will eventually dive deeper into that and what all of that means and how this series can help you. So, before, excuse me, before we get too far into it, something I want to touch on that I did not touch on here is astrology versus astronomy. Now, I'm not here to go against any kind of science. I am not here to argue against anything of that nature. To be perfectly frank, I don't care that much. I understand that there is a difference between astrology and astronomy, obviously, because astronomy observes, measures, and studies celestial bodies. It's the math, the physics, the technological parts, the telescopes, the tangibles, things you can touch and see, and things of that nature. While astrology, it interprets the celestial movements for insights into the personality, energy, and timing, like mythology, intuition, and archetypes. One is for facts, and the other is about meaning. They both study the stars, but astrology asks what they mean to you. And it just sort of comes down to a thing of understanding yourself. Astronomy helps us understand more about the stars and what they do, about the gas giants, things of that nature. And that is all well, fine, and good. I love astronomy myself. I think the stars, space, and all of that is phenomenal. It is beautiful. But On a more hobby side, on a more interesting side, especially for myself, astrology is what makes everything more interesting. Not because astrology is something to get away from, say, things you need to pay attention to, but just a more self awareness of obviously yourself. Which brings me to our next part. What is a natal chart? So, a natal chart or a birth chart is a snapshot of where the planets were the exact moment you were born. It's a cosmic blueprint that maps out your core traits, your inner world, and how you process emotions, etc. It goes much deeper than just your sun sign. It goes into how you interpret your emotions, how you deal with communication, how you deal with love, how, what drives you, how you handle everything in life that comes your way. Relationships, communication, as I said, how you feel about spirituality, how you feel about work, how you go about just your daily responsibilities. And the reason it matters is because, as I said before, astrology is often misunderstood and misused by those who lack accountability. And by that, I mean, we've seen it in many spaces where somebody always has to use the excuse of, well, I can't be faithful because I'm a Libra, or I talk too much because I'm a Gemini, or some other BS excuse. And it's just a way to not take accountability. And along with a few other things, sometimes you just need therapy. Bad behavior cannot be excused away with astrology. And of course, there's always somebody around who's going to say some throwaway, and it's because they run into people like that. And that's fine. If people don't believe, people don't believe. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here for the people that are interested. Now, also, it's a tool. It's not a crutch, as I said, to explain away your bad behavior. And that's the other part. The world lacks a lot of accountability these days. And as just said, people that are into the more meta things like astrology, like numerology, and things of that nature, they like to use those things as scapegoats instead of looking at the real problem, which is their own trauma, their own lack of healing, their own lack of self awareness, that sort of deal. And I'm not going to get too preachy, even though I probably have been. I apologize. But it is a connection to oneself that is much needed for reflection and growth. And we could all use some growing and some healing, especially these days. So, what is a natal chart? Now, what I have here is just an example of one, and it is from astroseek.com. I will put that down in the description box, the link. And it is not anyone's personal one. It is not a specific one. This is just one as of this recording, the days natal chart. So we are in May. So that means we are in the sign of Gemini. So the sun and the moon are both in Gemini. The Mercury is in Gemini. And as you can see, it lists all the planets, and then it gets into some other uh, points: North Node, South Node, Lilith, and Chiron. Now, your personal chart will include more placements like Fortune and the Vertex, and we will get more into that. And I will also get more into explaining what the North Node, the South Node, Lilith, and Chiron are, as well as the houses, because it doesn't show it here. And multiple different sites can be used for a free birth chart, and you will need to know your exact birth time and location for a precise one. And there are definitely others like astro.com or cafe astrology, and they will all look different. Personally, I like astroseek because of the layout, and it helps me understand it better, and I can read it. But I can also read from the other two. It's just, as I said, astroseek is my friend. Now, the main thing to note is your chart is deeply personal, and I must emphasize this. Do not share it with anybody anywhere. You need to treat it like it's sensitive credit information. It's like your credit score to the universe, you know, because there are always people, you don't want to just give your credit information out or your personal information out anywhere on the web. It's dangerous. You can have your identity stolen and things of that nature, but this is more on a spiritual level, and you got to be careful because there's always somebody somewhere who just wants to cause chaos, and you don't want that chaos to happen in your life. So again, be very careful. Now let's get down to some of these basics. The big three: your sun, your moon, and your rising. Most of us know these. And to break it down a little bit for some of us who don't know, your sun sign is your core self, who you are when you feel safe. Meaning, say you're at home alone, nobody's there, your roommate's not there, your parents aren't there. It's just you, your dog, or you and your cat, or just you. And you can play your favorite music. You can dance in your underwear if you want to. Whatever. That that is you. That is your sun sign. That is who you are when, like I said, when you feel safe. Say you're with your friends and you act one way, and then once they get to know you, you turn into someone else. That someone else is you at your core. Your moon sign, on the other hand, is how you deal with feelings, moods, and emotional things. So, how to put it? How they say when life gives you lemons, how you handle making that lemonade. That is your moon sign. How you decide to make the lemonade. Do you just go through it and make said lemonade? Do you decide to take the lemons and squirt them in somebody's eyes? Um, do you throw the lemons back? It's how you emotionally handle life throwing lemons at you. um, your rising or your ascendant sign, on the other hand, is your first impression, how people see you before they really know you. Now, how I said with your sun sign, when people first meet you, that is your rising sign. The mask that you put on or that you have on unintentionally, usually, when people first meet you. They're like, oh, you must be a cool, calm, and collected person because you have a Capricorn rising or a Virgo rising or a Taurus rising. Very earthy. But then when they get to know you, you are, excuse my language, but batshit insane. It's probably because you've got some fire in there, or very flighty, like an air sign or something. That rising sign protects that core. Now, something to note: to get your rising sign, you have to know your birth time. And that birth time helps to nail it down. So if you don't know, it's quite all right, but you might not know, you might not be who you think you are, astrology, astrologically speaking. So keep that in mind. And I do apologize if I keep making mistakes when speaking. My brain's moving faster than my mouth. So, just some things to note now. Beyond the big three are the planets, the signs, and the houses. Now, the planets are the what? They obviously, we all know the planets, the 12 planets, even though they keep trying to tell us there are now only 11 since Pluto is too small. I don't care. Pluto is still a planet to me. Pluto awareness. Um, but each planet represents a part of who you are. So, like the examples I have here, Mercury is how you think. Venus is how you love, and Mars, how you act, your drive. And then, of course, there's more examples that we will go through as the series continues. Then we have the signs, which are the how. The sign a planet is in shows the energy or the vibe that it brings. So, Aries are bold, Cancers are considered to be sensitive, Scorpios intense. And even though that may be true, there are some other places where we will go deeper into that because you may know someone who is a, say, Cancer who is not as sensitive, but they're still a Cancer. You may know someone who is, for instance, a Leo, but they are not wanting to be in the spotlight all the time. They may be quiet, they may not be in your face all the time. There's a reason for that. As I said, we will get to that much later. And then we have the houses, which are the where. The house tells you where in life that energy shows up. So, first house is self and identity, seventh house, relationships, 10th house, career. Ninth house is, like I said, spirituality and growth and healing. And again, when we get further into the series, we will go deeper into and I will break down all of this. And something to note, each of these has 12 for all you synchronization fanatics out there. 12, 12, 12. Now, there's a little bit more, and we're almost done. The aspects and the missing pieces. Now, aspects are the angles between planets in your chart. The conjunctions, which is just the planets teaming up, oppositions, which are the inner tug of war between them, and the trines, which is the smooth flow, natural talents between them. Now, there's the interpretation layers. These are the angles that can change how your planets express themselves, either harmonizing or causing tension. Now, with the aspects we will be learning together, as I am not as well versed, we can help each other out there. So please feel free to give some back and forth in the comments. I will respond as much as I can there. And then the other elements, as I mentioned earlier, the asteroids, Lilith, Chiron, and etc. Some of these are just bonus layers that reflect themes of the shadow, healing, and karma within your chart. And then there are other parts like mathematical points, such as the vertex and part of fortune. These are more like cosmic signposts, things like moments of fate, luck, or purpose. So if you need more interpretive things, the sites that I mentioned will definitely help. So keep that in mind. And if you need help with interpretations, I do not mind helping. Just please feel free to say something in the comments. All my information will be down in the description. So there's that. And this is where we come to the end of this video. And I want to say thank you for taking the time to spend checking my video out, and I hope to see you in the next one. As I said, uh, everything that we have mentioned, like different sites to use and how to get in contact with me, will be in the description. And please feel free to leave a like, a dislike, comment, subscribe if you want to know more. There will be more of this series, and your cosmic journey is just beginning. So I will see you next time. Please be on the lookout and hit that notification bell if you do decide to subscribe for the next video. Thank you and have a good day.